night. Professor Treggy had to cancel for the keynote, so I actually think that we have something better. This is my, of course, personal opinion, but I would not like to disrupt sleeping patterns and spoil journeys. Therefore, I would like to introduce somebody that is a real celebrity, I would say, in the world of art, science, and technology. And that is Professor Roman Verostko. His presentation is from brushing hand to brushing machine in 1947 to 2011. Before inviting him to take his place on the podium, we have a few announcements to be made. The videos that you were looking at, they are a 30-second and a 60-second spot. They're running on the national TV here in Turkey. So I think for us it's a great promotion running in parallel with the spots of the biennial. And this idea is an idea that, thank you. This is an idea that is setting, I believe, perhaps many first. I hope they're going to be all good. The exhibition Uncontainable Broken Stillness, it is open, and you can go and visit. It's very easy. You can go, there are several piers that you can leave from. One is in Minonio on the area of Sultanahmet. The other one is Karaköy by the Galata Tower, and then the other one is Beşiktaş, which is down from Taksim. You take the funicular, you go down, and you move on. Actually, that's Kabataş. For Beşiktaş, it's a different area. Sorry, apologies. It's Beşiktaş. You have to take a dolmuş or a taxi. You get to the pier, and from there you go. And it's very easy. Once it's a beautiful journey, you can see the Golden Horn, and etc. You can choose your times. And generally speaking, it's very easy. You go out of the pier, and then you come back in, and on the left-hand side there are signs, and you can go upstairs and you can look at the exhibition. The other exhibition that is open is the one in Taksim, titled Uncontainable. It's the main exhibition for the main show. It has been, I guess, a feat of endurance of a soul to be able to make it. I hope you will enjoy it. And then there will be other openings throughout the week. Also, I wanted to mention today that we have terror drone signals from outside, performed by Robert Lisek, and that is going to be at the Peyote Club in Taksim. You have received a newsletter with the address and etc. So for those of you that want to continue clubbing, that's the place to go. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that today, from 1 to 2, we will have another performance here at the Sabancı Center, and that is Name Ready Made. And I hope you will enjoy, and it's a performance by Janis Jansa. I think this is all. All the best of luck to you all with your panel, papers, presentations, and etc. And also with your trips that I'm sure you're taking around the city of Istanbul. Thank you so much. Professor Verostko now.
Thank you, Ron Franco. In a sense, the thank you means also thank you for the privilege of being able to speak to this group this morning. I'm remembering 23 years ago in Utrecht, it was 1988, at the first International Symposium on Electronic Art, I presented a paper on epigenetic art, software as genotype. It seems a long way, a lot has happened since then. But that panel was an interesting panel because it included Harold Cohen was the lead person in the panel. And as I recall, at the time, there was a kind of an electricity that had brought together people from artists from all over the world for the first time to be able to talk about their studio work with new electronic technologies. So I would have to say it is a great pleasure to see this tradition continue and to grow, and I have already seen some new technologies that are, for me, they're positively far beyond anything we ever dreamed of. Well, let me go back, though, for why I am here and what I want to speak about today. And I want to share with you a little bit about my own experience as an artist, and I'm going to reach back. I will reach back to 1947, when I first entered the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, and I worked with paintbrushes and painted. Little did I dream back then that I would end up some more than, about some, 30, 40 years later, making pen and ink drawings like this. This one's at the Victoria Albert Museum. And in some ways, it's the coke ovens one more time, but in an entirely different way. You see, this painting here is about the coal fields of western Pennsylvania and the coke ovens that made coke for the steel industry. This drawing is an algorithmically generated drawing from one of my recent series, and we'll see a few more of them. And in fact, I have been working on some transformations of these drawings that will be shown at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Zagreb in the third week of October. That will be part of the geometry series. In any event, this is a painting of mine that would date from about 1968. And I think today I want to talk about the transition from to this place here, working with pen and ink drawings like that, and the transition from this to there. I think what we're going to see, though, first, I want to identify a few of the sources for my work. What is it, particularly, that guided me, or what was it about early 20th century art that so caught my attention that I ended up doing what I do? I identify at least these three, but there are many others, but especially Kandinsky and his Concerning the Spiritual in Art, Gabo and Pesner, their Realist Manifesto of 1920, and Kate Mondrian and his Plastic and Pure Plastic Art. As you can see, these are all artists of early 20th century. And I will identify one point in each of them rather quickly and then move on. For example, with Kandinsky, I think one of the things I gathered was this great interest in early 20th century to move from representation or representation of other things or other reality to literally create a visual reality which in and of itself could stand on its own. I think and also his work tended to transcend material and object and political issues. It was actually a kind of an art that wanted to be more like music, a form that one experienced for what it was. Gabo in 1920 with the Manifesto of a New Realism also brought another element to it, the idea that one might take even a physical phenomenon or something from the real world and use its form as a transformation and work of art. In this instance here, the kinetic standing wave that we'll look at, let's see, I should have an example. It should be here. How did I miss it? I'm so sorry, it's not showing. But it's a vertical vibrating rod that for some reason is not, it's on my screen, but it's not there. Oh, there it is, I'm sorry. I bet this. I wasn't able to see it. So a motor drives it, it vibrates, and defines a form, and we see that in and of itself as a work of art. So this idea of a new reality which could stand on its own, in and of itself, was an important part of it all. Mondrian's dynamic equilibrium, equivalent of oppositions, universal harmony, cosmic order, these are all words from his writings and thinking, and what it really meant was that he thought in terms of a visual world in relationship to, let's say, horizontal and vertical elements that would always be in a kind of a dynamic relationship, and yet at the same time held in place in a kind of a resolution. And so he was interested in the push and pull of color, the advance of red and yellow, and the recession of blue. So this happened in 3 dimensions from his point of view in these fields. Well, we may not see it that way, but it's what drove him. Perhaps from our point of view today, we may have another perspective, but the point was that he understood that, let's say, he searched for some methodology for creating form which could stand on its own. So if you would think of it that way, this is what led me to a series of works I did in the 60s, my New City series, my acrylic, that were combinations of gesture and rational arrangement in the same field. In a sense, I explored various methodologies for form generation, including an automatic drawing, a kind of an abstract expressionist approach to it. And so as you can see in these paintings that date from the 60s, this led me eventually to actually embed such a work into concrete. This was a reinforced concrete load-bearing wall that I did one of 30 castings in 1967 for a monastery. I was telling Juan Franco earlier that I had spent 18 years of my life as a Benedictine monk in a monastery, and we spoke a little bit about Monte Cassino, and it sort of almost brought a tear thinking of all those years back then and the great traditions behind it. So the brother casting was an attempt on my part to transform aspects of gesture into a concrete. And all of these kinds of activities gave me an experience or an understanding from my perspective. The procedure, by the way, was to burn we burned the negative, where I used hot irons to get some of the spontaneous quality of gesture to cast into concrete. So that's how we achieved it. Now, during this very same period, in the 60s, I also worked with